This week, I'm going to take you through a slow flow practice with a bit more balancing movements. So we're going to balance on the floor, then standing up, and we're going to get the whole body moving. Let's get started. For this week's practice, you don't necessarily need any props, but if you like to use blocks, then have a block or some boxes, some books there for you next to your mat that you can use if you want to. But you can also do this practice without any props. We are going to start from standing up, and we're going to do the 6-part Taoist breath in the beginning of the practice. So when you're looking for your mat space, your practice space, make sure you have some room on each side. So if you want to start the practice facing the long side of the mat, then that would probably give you space on each side. And your feet could be hip-width apart, or you could step your feet a bit wider apart. I suggest keeping a small bend in the knees, just so that you are not locking your knees, but you're kind of dropping your weight down, grounding here in the beginning. And take a few breaths in and out. Inhaling through the nose, exhale either through the mouth or nose. And if Ujjayi breath is part of your practice, you could start to bring that gentle Ujjayi breath into your flow as well. We're going to do 5 rounds of the 6-part Taoist breath. We'll do first round a bit slower, and then you can start to follow your own breath. Now inhale and exhale, let the shoulders release down. And then with your next in-breath, lengthen arms up. You might even look up. As you exhale, bend the elbows and now push hands out to the sides like you're pushing walls away. As you inhale, close your palms and pull the arms, hands close to your sides. Open the palms. Exhale, push your hands in front of you, away from the chest. You can round your neck. As you inhale again, close your hands and pull the arms in. As you exhale, now open palms towards the mat and exhale all the way down into a full forward bend. You can bend your knees even more. And we start from the beginning. Inhale, lift your back, reach your arms up. And as you exhale, push hands out to the sides. Inhale, draw the arms in, close to the sides. Exhale, push hands in front of you. And again, feel free to round the neck, round the upper back. Inhale, draw the arms in. Exhale, push hands down towards the mat. Again, full forward bend. And continue following your own breath. Start with the in-breath, arms lengthening up. Exhale, push hands to the sides. You can follow the hands with your gaze. Inhale, pulling in. Exhale, push in front of you. Let the spine move, let the shoulders move. Again, inhale, draw the arms in. Exhale, down towards the mat. Try to soften your neck, let the head drop down. 2 more rounds. You decide how much or how little force you want to use in the movement. In-breath draws the arms in, just like you're drawing the breath in. Exhale, pushes away as you send the breath out. Inhalation, pulling the arms in. Exhale, down to the mat. And keeping the knees soft. 1 more round with your in-breath reaching up. Exhale, push hands to the sides. Inhale. Exhale in front of you. Feel the arms growing, moving from your back. Once more, inhale, draw the arms in. Exhale, push gently down towards the mat. Dropping the head down. And then inhale once more, lengthen up, reach the arms up. And now bring hands to your lower abdomen. Bring hands together. Exhale. Hands below the navel. And take a few breaths here in and out. Just let the breath sink down. Let the shoulders soften. Good. That's our breath woken up, warmed up. And now we're going to move to the back end of our mat. And we're going to go into a couple of sun salutation rounds. So come stand at the back of your mat, at the back of your space. Find your feet again grounded on the mat. And from there, as you inhale, lengthen arms up. This time you could bring palms together and exhale, fold forward. Again, knees could be bent. Hands on the mat or hands on the shins. Inhale to flat back, halfway up, opening the chest. Exhale, bend down, let your hands come down onto the mat. As you inhale, walk hands forward into a plank pose. And we stay here a couple of breaths. In your plank, you'd have your legs extended, or you could bring your knees onto the mat, but keep pushing the mat away with your arms. One more in breath. Then as you exhale, slowly lower yourself down. So if you could bring elbows close to the sides. You can release your chest, your belly onto the mat. And as you inhale, start to peel the chest off the mat into a baby cobra pose. You can draw the elbows in close to the sides. Keep the tops of the feet on the mat, but legs active. One more in breath towards the chest space. And exhale, release down. Now first, lift your pelvis, your lower belly off the mat. Draw the pubic bone towards the chest bone. As you exhale, lift yourself onto hands and knees. Tuck the toes under and exhale into downward dog. It's like your pelvis is pulling, lifting you up from when you're lying down on the belly all the way into downward dog. And it's our first downward dog. Feel free to move here a bit. Move your feet. Maybe step from one hand to the other. Head dropping down. Knees can be bent. Take another breath in and out. And then we're going to keep our feet where they are. Slowly walk your hands to your feet, maybe bending more into the knees. Exhale into forward bend. Inhale to flat back. Lift your chest away from the legs, away from the mat. Exhale into full forward bend. Head can release down. As you inhale, roll the back up. Reach arms up. Exhale, bring hands again to your lower abdomen, below the navel. Breathe in and out. Same again. As you inhale, lengthen arms up. Exhale, bring palms together and dive down. Fold forward. Hands on the mat or hands on the shins. Inhale to flat back. Reach head away from the tail. And as you exhale, bend back down. Bring hands onto the mat. And then as you inhale, walk forward into the plank. And find your hands about under your shoulders. Again, either legs extended or knees on the mat. Make a small shift of weight forward. And then exhale, slowly, slowly come down. Bring your chest down, belly, pelvis down. You can release the toes. And as you inhale, start to again lift into the cobra pose. And you could stay in a baby cobra. Or you might use your arms a bit more to lift higher up. You choose where your cobra needs to be right now. You're breathing into that chest space. And exhale, release down. We start to lift the pelvis, the lower belly off the mat. Pubic bone coming closer to the chest bone. Inhale. Exhale, lift onto hands and knees and all the way up into downward dog. And again, we might need to adjust hands and feet. See if you could release the neck. Let your heavy head drop down. You can move the hips. Take another breath in and out. Try to soften the tops of the shoulders away from the ears. And then again, keep your feet where they are. We're going to walk hands to the feet. Bring the heels down. You can bend the knees. As you inhale, extend the back into flat back. And exhale, bend down. That full forward bend. Head can drop down. As you inhale, roll the back up. Reach arms up, opening the chest. And exhale, bring hands to your lower abdomen. And take a couple of breaths down to the belly. Let the breath sink down. Then we're going to start one more round, but this time we're going to add other poses. We're going to go more into standing poses. Once more, as you inhale, lengthen arms up. You bring palms together. Exhale, fold forward. Head can drop down. Inhale to that flat back again. Hands on the mat or hands on the shins. Exhale, bend your back forward. Hands come down to the mat so that you can inhale forward into plank. Make sure you can push your hands, your arms down, and then exhale with that push. Slowly bend the elbows lower down. You're resisting the gravity. And then inhale into your cobra. Again, it could be small, it could be bigger cobra. Keep the legs active. And exhaling down. Lift the pelvis first off the mat. Inhale. And as you exhale onto hands and knees, into downward dog, with the pelvis lifting you up. Head dropping down. Now from here, we're going to come into a couple of lunges. We start with a higher lunge. First, as you inhale, you could lift your right leg up into the air. And then exhale, step the right foot forward to your hands. Bring the right foot to a place where you can press down through the foot. And we're going to inhale, lift the back up. Lift the arms up, find that high crescent lunge. Exhale, cactus the arms, opening the chest, bending the elbows, softening the tops of the shoulders. Now more focus on engaging through the back side between the shoulder blades. And breathing into that front space. There might be a small back bend going on. Take another breath in and out. Keep your legs strong. The back leg, knee could be bent. And then as you exhale, bring palms together, closing the chest. And we're going to lower the left knee down onto the mat. Still staying in a lunge. Now as you inhale, bring your left elbow to the outside of your right knee or thigh. And then start to open the chest out to the right. The palms can gently press against each other. The left elbow gently pressing onto the right leg and the right leg pressing onto the left elbow. Take another breath or two in and out. And then as you exhale, slowly release that twist. Bring hands onto the mat and step back into downward facing dog. And now you can choose to stay in downward dog, or we could add a little flow here before we do the lunges on the other side. So if you want, inhale, come forward into your plank. Again, knees could be on the mat. And then as you exhale, slowly lower down. Chest first, then belly, then pelvis. Release the toes and inhale into your cobra. Breathing into that chest space. Exhale, lowering down. And pelvis, belly starts to lift up first. Inhale. And as you exhale, onto hands and knees and back into downward facing dog. Soften the neck. Soften the breath. We'll do those lunges to other side. Now we're going to inhale, lift the left leg slightly up. Exhale, step left foot to your hands. And it could be first on the outside of the left hand, and then you can walk the left foot more in the center. With an in-breath, start to lift the back up. First, reach the arms up, so find your balance here. And then as you exhale, you could bring arms down behind the back. Either reach for the opposite elbow, or bring hands together, interlock fingers, and then start to open the chest. If you have your hands together, you could very gently reach down and back with the arms. Again, there might be a small back bend. And breathing into that chest space. Right knee could be bent. We try to keep the weight in the center rather than just on one leg. Let's take another breath in and out. And then as you exhale, release your back bend, release your arms, and bring palms together in front of the chest. We're going to lower the right knee down slowly, slowly, and move into the twist. So now bring your right elbow to the outside of your left leg and open the chest. So palms slightly pressing against each other. Right elbow pressing onto the left leg and the left leg pressing onto the right elbow. And trying to keep that length between head and tail that we were looking for in the flat back, the halfway lift pose. Take another breath in and out. And then exhale, slowly release that twist. Bring hands down and again, step into a downward dog. And you're going to have the same options, either stay in downward dog or maybe come into child's pose. That would be a good option as well. Or we can add that slow flow here. If you want, come forward into your plank and pressing the mat away. Exhale slowly down. You can release the toes, inhaling to cobra. And of course, follow your own breath. You could go faster, you could go even slower. And exhaling down. Inhale to lift your pelvis, your lower belly off the mat. And then exhale onto hands and knees. Tuck the toes and lift into downward facing dog. You shake the head. Good, and then we're going to continue balancing, but we're going to do it down on a knee and hand. So now from this downward dog, bring your left knee kind of under the belly, under the chest on the mat. Bring the shin down. We're going to go into gate pose. So you could step your left hand a bit further forward and then inhale, turn your chest, your pelvis to the long side of the mat. And you could lengthen the right arm up. And either stay here or start to balance more, lifting the right leg up into the air. And you might shift the weight a bit forward onto that left hand. Either stay here or last option, bend your right knee and reach right hand to that right foot or ankle. Maybe even gently, gently kicking that right foot away from the chest. If neck gets tense, you could look away from your right shoulder, so looking down. And breathe wherever you are. Keep breathing. We're using that core to balance here. Take another breath or two in and out. And then slowly, slowly start to release. Bring your right foot down. Bring your right hand down and turn your pelvis, your chest down. And now for a moment, bring both knees on the mat and then lean your pelvis into child's pose. So taking weight off the hands, you bring head down to the mat or bring hands under the head. If you want, you can also bring arms next to your legs, next to your sides. You could rock a bit from side to side with your pelvis. Take a couple of breaths in and out. And then we're going to come back up into downward facing dog. So from child's pose, lift yourself onto hands and knees. Tuck the toes under and lift the pelvis up. And same options, either stay in downward dog or add a flow here. So if you want, inhale to plank. And knees could be on the mat as we exhale to low plank and down onto the mat. Inhaling to cobra. Again, you decide how big your back bend needs to be. And exhaling down. Inhale, lift the pelvis off the mat. Exhale, hands and knees, and then into downward dog. We're going to do that gate balancing pose on the other side. So now you could, from downward dog, lift the right leg up and then exhale, bring right knee on the mat, the right shin on the mat. And you could step your right hand a bit further forward. Inhale, turn your pelvis, your chest to the other long side of the mat. And again, check where your right hand is, if there's space to lean a bit forward. And then you could lift your left leg off the mat. Now, notice what you're doing with your left foot. It might help you to flex your toes. You could flex your ankle. If you want, you can bend your left knee and reach your left hand to that left foot. And this side might feel and be very different. So find your shape. You don't have to do the same choice as you did on the first side. See if you can release the tops of the shoulders away from the ears. Again, you can look down to the mat. Take another breath in and out. You can let that left shoulder roll open. And then slowly start to release the pose. Bring the left foot down. Bring your both hands onto the mat and turn your chest, your pelvis down. And we're going to go into downward dog. So step your both feet back, lift the pelvis up and drop the head down. Like we did in the beginning, leave your feet where they are and walk your hands to your feet. Bring the heels down, you can bend into the knees, and we're going to stay in this ragdoll pose for a few breaths. If you want, you could hold your elbows. Again, soften through the back of the neck. Legs can stay bent or you can straighten the knees more. Allow opening through the whole back side. Another breath in and out. And then we're going to bend a bit more into the knees and slowly start to roll the back up. You can release the arms, lift up through the belly, lift up through the chest. Maybe send the arms up if you want. And exhale, bring hands onto your lower belly and below the navel. And send a couple of breaths down to your hands. And then we're going to come into our bigger balancing poses. We're going to do warrior 3 and then the dancer pose or the standing bow pose, whichever name you like to use. And we're going to stand on the left foot first. So from the back of the mat, make sure you leave space behind you. Step your left foot forward. You can release the arms. So checking that you have space behind you. Now first, keep the right foot toes on the mat and focus on creating connection from your left heel through the inner thigh, through the back of that left leg into your left sitting bone in the pelvis. So connecting your left heel to your pelvis. And you can bring palms together in front of the chest, pressing the palms together. Reach the crown of the head away from your right foot. And this is already warrior 3. You can stay here. Or if you want, inhale and exhale, start to fly forward, tilting your back forward, tilting the pelvis forward, the right leg floating up behind you and actively reaching the right foot and head away from each other. If you want, you could open arms out to the sides and try to feel that connection from left heel to the left side of the pelvis, from the crown of the head to your right foot. And again, you might flex your toes, you might flex your ankle. Take another breath in and out. The whole back line active. And then as you inhale, lift yourself up. Bring the feet down, maybe reach the arms up, open the chest. And exhale, bring palms together in front of the chest. Back into that mountain pose. And we'll do the same on the other side. So shift the weight onto your right foot. Extend the left leg behind you. Again, first left foot toes on the mat. Create that connection from your right heel through the inner leg, through the back side of the thigh, into your right sitting bone. And then connecting from head to your left foot. Head and left foot start to reach away from each other. Inhale. And either stay where you are or start to float, fly forward. So rather than diving down, try to reach forward. Let the left leg come up behind you. And it might be that your hips open. It might be that your hips stay closed. Trying to stay connected to the floor. Trying to stay connected through the back side from toes all the way to the head. And again, you could open the arms if you want. And check that you're still breathing. Standing leg could be bent. Maybe breathing more to that chest space. Take another breath in and out. And then as you inhale, lift your back up, bring the feet down, reach arms up. And now we're going to exhale all the way down into full forward bend. And we're going to hug the knees, if that feels okay. So you could hug your knees, or maybe the other option could be bring hands behind your ankles, behind your heels. Really curling in. Releasing through the back side. Breathe towards the back as well, like you're breathing into your turtle shell on your back. And then we're going to come up, release the arms, bend the knees, inhale up. You could reach the arms up. Exhale, bring hands onto the lower abdomen. Just focusing on the center, the core of the body. One more balancing pose. This will be the last balancing pose, the dancer pose. And we're going to step on to the left foot. We're going to now open the arms and then bend into that left knee and reach right hand maybe to the outside or inside of that right foot or ankle. And here's the same connection from left heel to the left side of the pelvis. Inhale, you could bring left arm in front of you or even overhead. And you could stay here, inner thighs active. Or same as before, you could start to fly forward. And here, you could use that back leg to open the chest to create a bit more of a back bend. So gently you could kick that right leg up and back. Make sure it's not hurting in the knees. It's not hurting in the back. And you can still breathe. Again, standing leg knee could be bent. Sometimes it helps with that connection from floor to the pelvis. And then slowly inhaling back up. Let the inner thighs say hello to each other. And then release the foot, release the arms. Inhale, lengthen arms up. And exhale, release the arms down. And now our last balance on the right foot, that same dancer pose. So shift the weight or step the weight onto your right foot. And then bend your left knee behind you. Again, see if you want to hold the outside of that left foot or the inside. It might create a very different sensation in the shoulder area. Again, inner thighs engaged, lifting that support up to your spine. And the right arm could grow up or in front of you. Activate that left foot. And then if you want, inhale and exhale. You could lean or fly forward. So you could use that back leg, now that left leg to kick back. And that often helps with that stability of leaning forward when something, i.e. the left leg here, is reaching back. And breathe. Maybe breathing more to that chest space. Focus your gaze onto something that's not moving. Another breath in and out. And then inhale, slowly lifting up. Again, inner thighs say hello to each other. And then we release the foot, release the arms. You can roll the shoulders. And we're going to one last time. Inhale, lengthen arms up. And exhale, bend down. Rounding the back, bring hands down. This time, if you want, you could slide your hands, your palms under your feet so that you're standing on top of your palms. If that doesn't feel good, don't do it. You could also hang your arms down, or you could hold the elbows like the ragdoll we did in the beginning, or you could hug your legs like we did just before. But take a few breaths in your full forward bend. Again, opening the back side. The back side has been working quite hard in this practice. And then slowly release the hands if you're standing on your palms. And we're going to slowly bring ourselves onto all fours. Bring the knees down. And from all fours, bring yourself into a seat. You can bring legs in front of you and make sure you have space behind you. We're going to slowly come all the way down onto our back. And once you're there, bend the knees and give yourself a few windshield wipers. So just swinging the legs from side to side. And then we're going to bring both knees to the left side of the mat into a twist. And now you decide if you want to leave the legs wider apart, so it's almost like a reclining deer, or if you want to bring the right leg on top of the left. That might give you more of a twist. You could open arms out to the sides, or you could bring arms overhead. And just let the legs become heavy. You've done a lot of balancing on your feet. Let the breath calm down. Let the breath maybe slow down. You could breathe all the way down to the belly. Take another breath or two in and out. And then with your next couple of breaths, bring your legs back to the center. And we're going to do same on the other side. So now bring your both knees to the right side of the mat. And same here. You could keep your legs wider apart. And you might feel it more in the legs. There is a twist as well. Or you can decide you want to bring the left knee on top of the right leg, and that probably creates a bigger twist in the spine because it takes your pelvis more to the right. So see which one you would like to do. Do you want to open the arms? Where do you feel you could let the shoulders relax? You could also bring one hand onto the belly to remind us about the breath, how the breath keeps moving in and out. Let your jaw soften, so not biting teeth together. Take a couple more breaths in and out. And then after those couple of breaths, slowly bring your legs back up. Release the twist. And then give yourself a moment. If some movement is needed, you could hug the knees in. You could rock a bit from side to side. You might do a few more windshield wipers if you want. Or maybe there's a different movement, something else you would like to do. Because then the next pose will be our last pose, Shavasana, resting pose. And when you are finding your Shavasana pose, you can choose to stay on the back. You could choose to lie down on the belly. Or you could curl onto one side or the other. You decide. But slowly find your way into your resting pose. You could bring hands onto your belly. Or maybe the arms are resting next to your sides. Take a few slightly deeper breaths in and out. You could close your eyes. And then breath by breath, let your whole body become just a bit heavier. You no longer need to balance. You can now feel supported on the mat, on the floor. You can let your whole body rest and drop its weight down towards the floor, down towards the ground. With each exhalation, let yourself let go of tension that you don't need right here, right now. Notice those gentle waves of your own breath. Sliding in, sliding out. And we'll spend another 5 to 10 breaths in this resting pose. Of course, you might stay longer. If you want to extend your Shavasana pose, then from now onwards, just ignore what I'm going to say and let yourself stay in your resting pose. And you can stay there as long as you want, as long as it's needed today. If you've gotten to the end of your 5 to 10 breaths and you feel that this would be a good time to start closing the practice, then first take one bigger, deeper breath in and out. And start to bring some movement back to your body. You might open your eyes if you're ready to come back to your practice space, if you're ready to open your eyes. Move the wrists, ankles, maybe even stretch your arms overhead along the floor. And then in your own time, roll onto one side and bring yourself up into a seat, into your own final seat. Find a place where you could give yourself a few more breaths to close the practice. And if it's part of your practice, you bring your hands, your palms together in front of the chest. And as always, at the end of the practice, most importantly, thank yourself for showing up onto your mat, into your practice today. And I thank you so much for joining in, for sharing this practice. Namaste. Thank you. Good. Thank you so much. I do hope you enjoyed the practice. If you're still in your Shavasana pose, just stay there as long as you want. And then before you go, if you did enjoy the practice, please give the video a thumbs up and also share it with someone who you think might enjoy this practice. And if you have any questions, you can leave them in the comments below. Thank you very much, and I hope I'll see you on the next video. Bye.